3 days had passed since the demonstration, and the Galactic Council chamber looked very different. The same aliens sat in the same chairs, but everything had changed. Where once there had been arrogance and dismissive laughter, now there was careful respect and nervous whispers. Admiral Lisa Cole walked into the chamber wearing her full military uniform. Unlike Jake Morrison's diplomatic clothes, her outfit clearly showed that she was a high-ranking military officer. The aliens watched her every step as she moved to the center of the chamber. Behind her walked General Ryan Brooks, Captain Alex Turner, and Dr. Ben Rodriguez. Each human carried themselves with quiet confidence. These were not the weak, primitive humans that the aliens thought they knew. "I am Admiral Lisa Cole, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces," she announced. To the assembly, "I am here to discuss the new relationship between humanity and the galactic community." Elder Mordoon, looking much older than he had 3 days ago, spoke first. "Admiral Cole, the Vorthic hegemony wishes to understand your intentions." Your demonstration of power was ... impressive. "What do you want from us?" Lisa looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of representatives from dozens of species. "We want the same thing we have always wanted: peace, trade, and the right to live our lives without interference. The only thing that has changed is that now, we can defend those rights." Gregtor stood up slowly. The proud Korath war leader looked uncomfortable, like he was swallowing something bitter. "The Korath Empire withdraws its claim on human colony worlds. We acknowledge that humans are capable of defending their territory." It was not an apology, but coming from a Korath, it was as close as anyone would get. Lisa nodded acceptance. Of his words, Zexhai spoke next, her blue glow much dimmer than usual. "The Zalani Federation requests information about human technological capabilities. We would like to propose scientific exchanges and joint research projects." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward. "We are always interested in learning and sharing knowledge. However, we will be careful about which technologies we share and with whom. Trust must be earned." The discussions continued for hours. One by one, alien species that had dismissed humanity for 50 years now asked for partnerships, trade agreements, and military cooperation. The Threnody wanted to buy human ship designs. The Gorvani offered mining rights in exchange for human weapons technology. The Nexari proposed joint colonies where humans and aliens could work together. But the most important conversation happened with the 3 major powers. "The galactic power structure must change," Admiral Cole announced. "For too long, this council has been controlled by species that believe might makes right. That ends today." Elder Mordon's ancient face showed confusion. "What do you propose, Admiral?" "That humans take control of the council?" "No," Lisa replied firmly. "We propose a council based on cooperation rather than domination. No single species should control the fate of all others. Decisions should be made by consensus, with respect for the rights of smaller nations." Zexhai looked suspicious. "You have the strongest military in the galaxy now. Why would you give up the chance to rule?" Captain Turner answered her question. "Because humans learned something important from our own history. Power without responsibility leads to tyranny. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We want to help it grow." The negotiations took days, but slowly a new structure began to form. The Galactic Council would be reorganized with representatives from all species, not just the major powers. Military threats would no longer be used to settle disputes. Trade and scientific cooperation would be encouraged between all worlds. Gregtor struggled the most with these changes. For 1,000,000 years, the strong have ruled and the weak have served. This is the natural order. Natural order according to who? General Brooks asked. The Korath Empire is strong in war, but weak in science. The Zelani Federation has advanced technology, but poor agricultural systems. The Vorthic hegemony has great wisdom, but lacks industrial capacity. Every species has strengths and weaknesses. Real strength comes from working together. As the discussions continued, more details were worked out. Human technology would be shared with species that proved trustworthy. Human military forces would help protect smaller worlds from aggressive neighbors. Human scientists would work with alien researchers to solve problems that affected everyone. But humans would also maintain their military strength. The UES Retribution and her sister ships would patrol human space and be ready to respond to any threats. The hidden bases and secret weapons would remain, a reminder that humans were no longer helpless. Jake Morrison, who had started this whole process with his brave speech, stood to make the final announcement. 50 years ago, humanity joined this galactic community as students, hoping to learn from older and wiser species. We did learn, but not what you expected us to learn. He looked around the chamber at faces that now showed respect instead of contempt. We learned that age does not always mean wisdom. We learned that technology without curiosity leads to stagnation. We learned that strength without justice becomes tyranny. Most importantly, we learned that every species, no matter how young or old, has something valuable to contribute. Admiral Cole stepped forward. The demonstration of our military power was necessary to get your attention. But our real strength is not in our weapons. Our real strength is in our willingness to keep learning, keep growing, and keep working toward a better future. The final vote was unanimous. The Galactic Council would be restructured according to human proposals. Military aggression would be discouraged through economic and diplomatic pressure. Scientific cooperation would be promoted through shared research programs. As the session ended, aliens began approaching the human delegation with requests for meetings, trade proposals, and research partnerships. Species that had ignored humanity for decades now wanted to be friends and allies. Captain Turner smiled as he watched the aliens trying to get Admiral Cole's attention. Think they'll actually follow through on these new rules? Some will, some won't, Lisa replied. But now they know what happens to species that threaten others. The galaxy is going to be a much more peaceful place. Dr. Rodriguez was already talking with Zelani scientists about joint physics research. General Brooks was discussing training programs with several military leaders who wanted to learn human tactics. Even Gregtor was asking questions about human military organization, though he looked like it hurt to admit he could learn anything from humans. Jake Morrison stood at the window looking out at space around Nexus Prime. The UES Retribution was still visible, a reminder of humanity's new status. But around it were ships from dozens of species, many of them arriving to begin the new cooperation programs. 50 years of pretending to be weak, he said to himself. Now we get to find out what we can accomplish when we're honest about our strength. Admiral Cole joined him at the window. Think we made the right choice? Revealing everything could have started a war that destroyed the galaxy. Jake smiled. Humans have always been optimists. We believed that most species would choose cooperation over conflict once they understood the alternatives. Looks like we were right. The new galactic order was just beginning, but already it looked promising. Species that had been enemies for millions of years were talking about working together. Scientific projects that had been impossible were becoming reality. Trade routes that had been controlled by the powerful were opening to everyone. And at the center of it all, humanity had found its true place in the galaxy. Not as rulers or subjects, but as partners in building a better future for all. The age of human deception was over. The age of human leadership had begun. Gregtor was not the kind of warrior who backed down from a fight. Even with the massive human ship floating next to Nexus Prime, even with the shocked faces of every alien in the chamber, he refused to believe that humans could be a real threat. You Think one big ship scares the Korath Empire? He snarled at Jake Morrison. We have been fighting wars since before your planet learned to make fire. Our fleet will crush your toys and take your worlds. He activated his own communication device and spoke in the harsh Korath battle language. Battle Group Alpha, this is War Leader Gregtor. Proceed with the attack on human colonies. Destroy any ships that resist. Show these humans what real power looks like. In space near the colony of New Terra, 20 Korath battleships moved into attack formation. These were some of the most feared warships in the galaxy, with armor that could survive planet-killing weapons and guns that could destroy entire cities. Admiral Victor, commanding the Korath fleet, felt confident as his ships approached the human world. Scan the system? He ordered his sensor officer. Show me these hidden human ships. The sensor operator worked frantically at his controls. Sir, I detect the defensive installations on the planet, but I cannot find any ships. Space appears to be empty. Admiral Victor laughed. The humans are hiding behind their planet like scared children. All ships begin bombardment of the surface. Installations. We will teach them to respect Korath power. The 20 battleships moved forward, their massive weapons charging with energy that made space itself glow. As they prepared to fire, something impossible happened. Ships began to appear around them. Not just a few ships, but dozens of sleek human vessels that seemed to materialize out of empty space. They moved with speed that no Korath ship could match, dancing around the alien fleet like sharks around slow-moving prey. Sir, we are surrounded, called the sensor officer. Where did they come from? Before Admiral Vector could answer, the human ships opened fire. The weapons they used were unlike anything the Korath had ever seen. Instead of simple energy beams or explosive missiles, the humans fired projectiles that seemed to bend space itself. The shots passed through Korath shields like they were not there and struck the hulls with precise accuracy. But the humans were not trying to destroy the Korath ships. Instead, they aimed for specific systems. One by one, the Korath battleships found their weapons disabled, their engines shut down, their communication systems destroyed. In less than 10 minutes, the entire Korath fleet was floating helplessly. In space, Admiral Victor stared at his dead control panels in disbelief. How is this possible? Our shields should have stopped any human weapon. A new voice spoke over the emergency communication channel. This is Colonel Steve Martinez of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet has been disabled, but not destroyed. We could have killed all of you in the first minute of this fight, but humans prefer to win without unnecessary death. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, aliens watched the battle on the main display with growing shock. The Korath Empire had the strongest military in the galaxy, but their ships were being defeated like children playing with toys. Zex-High's blue glow had become very dim. This cannot be real. Korath armor is the strongest in known space. How are human weapons penetrating it? Jake Morrison answered her question. We studied your armor for 50 years. We learned how it worked, and then we designed weapons specifically to defeat it. We did the same thing with Zelani shields, Vorthok, reality warpers, and every other defense system in the galaxy. Elder Mordoon spoke with a voice that shook slightly. You have been preparing for war against all of us? We prepared for war against anyone who might threaten us, Jake replied. We hoped it would never be necessary, but we were ready just in case. The display changed to show other parts of the galaxy where alien fleets were moving to test human defenses. Near the Zelani home system, 3 Federation cruisers approached a human research station. The Zelani ships were famous for their advanced energy shields that could stop any known weapon. The human ships defending the station did not even try to break through the Zelani shields. Instead, they fired weapons that created small holes in space itself. The shots appeared inside the Zelani ships, bypassing the shields completely. The Federation cruisers found themselves just as helpless as the Korath battleships. "Impossible," whispered Zexhai. "No one can bypass our shields." "Dr. Ben Rodriguez would disagree," Jake said. "Our chief scientist has been studying quantum mechanics in ways your people never imagined. When you understand how space itself works, shields become much less effective." The most shocking demonstration came when the ancient Vorthik decided to test their ultimate weapons. The Vorthik had technology that was millions of years old, including reality warpers that could change the laws of physics in a small area of space. They deployed 3 of these weapons against a human supply convoy. The reality warpers activated, creating a zone where gravity worked backward, where energy became solid, and where time moved in the wrong direction. Any normal ship caught in this field would be destroyed instantly. The human ships simply flew the distorted space like it was not there. Captain Alex Turner spoke from the bridge of the UES Retribution, explaining what the aliens were seeing. Human physicists discovered that reality warpers work by changing local spacetime. Once you understand the mathematics, you can build ships that are immune to those changes. Elder Mordoon's ancient face showed fear for the first time. "In 1,000 years, you have overcome our greatest weapons. Technology that took millions of years to develop. Your technology is very impressive," Jake admitted, "but it is also very old. You stopped improving it long ago. Humans never stopped trying to make things better." Around the galaxy, every alien fleet that tried to test human defenses met the same fate. Ships that had never been defeated were disabled in minutes. Weapons that had won 1,000 wars were useless against human technology. Military doctrines that had worked for millions of years fell apart when faced with human tactics. In the council chamber, watched their forces being defeated everywhere at once. Not destroyed, but defeated so completely that they could do nothing but float in space and wait for help. Commander Nenia Davis appeared on the communication screen from the Retribution's Weapon Control Center. "Ambassador Morrison, all alien fleets have been neutralized. No human casualties reported. Our forces are standing by for further orders." Jake looked around the chamber at the shocked alien faces. Some looked terrified. Others looked confused. But all of them finally understood that humans were not the weak species they had believed. "This demonstration is over," Jake announced. "Human forces will now withdraw to defensive positions. Your disabled ships will be repaired and returned to you. We have no desire to conquer or destroy, only to protect what is ours." He turned, too, faced Gregtor directly. "War leader, do you still believe that humans are weak? Do you still want to take our colonies?" Gregtor said nothing. For the first time in his life, the mighty Korath warrior had no words. The galaxy would never be the same again. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council was bigger than any meeting in 50 years. Every major race had sent their best leaders to Nexus Prime. The huge chamber was full of alien voices, all talking about the same thing. What to do with the human problem. Gregtor sat with his war council, their red eyes bright with excitement. Taking human colonies would be easy, and it would show the galaxy that the Korath Empire was still the strongest military force among the stars. "This will be simple," Gregtor said to his officers. "Human weapons cannot hurt our ships. Human soldiers cannot fight our warriors. We will take their worlds, and they will thank us for letting them live." Zexhai floated near the center of the room, her blue skin glowing brighter than usual. The Zelani Federation was happy to support the Korath action. Weak races like humans needed to learn their place in the galaxy. Perhaps after this lesson, humans will finally understand that they should leave important decisions to superior species, she said to her advisors. They have been in space for 50 years and learned nothing. It is time for them to step aside. Elder Mordun sat quietly with the other Vorthic leaders. His ancient eyes showed no emotion, but inside he was satisfied. The humans had been getting too confident lately, asking too many questions, and acting like they belonged among the major powers. A demonstration of their weakness would remind everyone of the natural order. When Jake Morrison entered the chamber, most of the aliens barely looked at him. He was just a human, after all. What could he possibly do that would matter? He walked to his seat calmly, carrying the same simple briefcase he always brought to meetings. The session began with Mordan calling for order. We gather today to address the Korath Empire's action regarding human colony worlds, he announced. This is a simple matter of resource management and galactic law. Gregtor stood up, his massive form towering over nearby delegates. The Korath fleet is already moving toward the human colonies. We expect no resistance. Humans lack the ships and weapons to oppose us. This action will be completed within 1 planetary day. More aliens began to speak, all saying the same thing. Humans were weak. Human colonies were undefended. It was time for stronger races to take control of resources that humans could not properly use or protect. Finally, Morden looked toward Jake. Does the human representative wish to speak before we conclude this matter? Jake stood up slowly. Around the chamber, alien faces looked at him with amusement, boredom, or mild curiosity. None of them expected anything interesting. Yes, Jake said in a clear voice. I have something very important to say. He walked to the center of the chamber, where a speaking platform allowed him to address the entire assembly. As he moved, he seemed different somehow. His steps were more confident. His face was calmer. The nervous human diplomat was gone, replaced by someone who looked completely sure of himself. For 50 years, humanity has been a member of this council, Jake began. For 50 years, we have listened to your wisdom and followed your guidance. For 50 years, you have seen us as weak, primitive, and harmless. Some aliens started to laugh, but Jake continued without stopping. Today, that ends. Jake reached into his briefcase and pulled out a device that looked more advanced than anything humans were supposed to have. It projected a holographic display that filled the air above the chamber with images from space. These are live images from the human colony of New Terra, Jake announced. The world that Gregtor's fleet is approaching right now. The display showed what looked like a normal colony world with farms, small cities, and peaceful settlements. The aliens in the chamber nodded to each other. This was exactly what they expected to see. Then Jake pressed another button. The peaceful farms suddenly opened up to reveal massive missile launchers. The small cities unfolded like flowers to show powerful energy weapons. The settlements activated shield generators that created shimmering barriers of energy. In seconds, what looked like a defenseless colony became a heavily armed fortress. Chamber fell completely silent. This is New Shanghai, Jake said as the display changed to show another colony. The same transformation happened. Hidden weapons appeared everywhere. Ships that looked like simple cargo vessels revealed themselves to be military cruisers. New Detroit, Jake continued. Another heavily defended world appeared on the display. New London, New Moscow, New Cairo. One by one, Jake showed colony after colony revealing hidden defenses that should not have existed. Zexhi's blue glow flickered with shock. This is impossible. Our sensors would have detected military installations of this size. Jake smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. Your sensors can only detect what we allow you to detect. The display changed again, this time, showing space around the colonies. At first, there seemed to be nothing there except empty darkness. Then Jake gave another command. Ships began to appear out of nowhere. First a few, then dozens, then hundreds. Sleek warships with designs that mixed human and alien technology in ways that should not have been possible. Each ship was bigger and more advanced than anything humans were supposed to be able to build. Gregor stood up so fast that his chair fell over. "What is this? Where did these ships come from?" "They were always there," Jake replied calmly. "You just could not see them." The most shocking moment came when the display focused on the space near Nexus Prime itself. The aliens in the chamber were looking at their own star system, the most secure and heavily defended location in the galaxy. At first, the space around the station looked normal. Then Jake gave one final command. A ship appeared that was bigger than anything any of them had ever seen. The UES Retribution decloaked right next to Nexus Prime, its massive hull gleaming with unknown metals and technologies. Weapon ports that could destroy entire fleets pointed in all directions. Engine emissions showed power levels that were off every known scale. The chamber erupted in panic. Aliens jumped from their seats, shouting in dozens of different languages. Security alarms began blaring as the station's defenses tried to understand how such a massive ship had appeared without warning. A new voice spoke over the communication system. "This is Captain Alex Turner of the United Earthship Retribution. I am here at the invitation of Ambassador Morrison to participate in today's discussion." On the main display, Captain Turner appeared. He wore a uniform that no alien had seen before, with symbols that clearly marked him as a military officer of high rank. Behind him, the bridge of his ship showed technology that was far beyond what humans were supposed to possess. Gregor was the first to recover from the shock. "This changes nothing," he roared. "One ship cannot defeat the Korath Empire." Jake turned to face the Korath war leader. "You are right. One ship cannot defeat your entire empire." He paused and smiled again. "Fortunately, we have more than one ship." The display changed to show space throughout the galaxy. In system after system, human ships began to appear out of nowhere. They surrounded alien military bases, appeared next to major trade routes, and took positions at every important location in known space. "For 50 years, we have been preparing," Jake announced to the stunned chamber. "While you believed we were weak, we were learning. While you thought we were harmless, we were planning. While you assumed we were inferior, we were building the most advanced military force this galaxy has ever seen." Mordan finally found his voice. "This is madness. How could you hide so much from us? Our intelligence networks monitor everything. Your intelligence networks told you what we wanted them to know," Jake replied. "Every piece of technology you sold us, we improved. Every tactical doctrine you taught us, we mastered and enhanced. Every weakness you showed us, we learned to exploit." The chamber was still in chaos, but now the aliens were listening carefully to every word Jake said. "The Korath Empire demanded our colonies," Jake continued. "We refuse. Any Korath ship that enters human space will be destroyed. Any alien force that threatens human citizens will face the full power of Earth's military." He looked around the chamber at faces that showed fear for the first time in centuries. "The age of underestimating. Humanity is over. The galaxy has a new power to respect." Admiral Lisa Cole stood in the command center deep under the mountains of Earth. The room was filled with screens showing star maps, ship locations, and colony reports. Officers moved quietly between the computers, their faces serious and focused. This place did not exist on any official map. The Galactic Council thought Earth's military was run from a small building in New York. They were wrong. "Admiral, all stations are ready," said Colonel Steve Martinez as he walked up to her. His uniform was black instead of the blue that Earth's. "Public military war. Operation Sleeping Giant is go." Lisa nodded and looked at the main screen. It showed the locations of every human world, every human ship, and every alien fleet in the galaxy. The aliens thought they were watching humans. They had no idea that humans were watching them much more carefully. 50 years, she said quietly. 50 years of pretending to be weak. Today it ends. Far away in the asteroid belt, Captain Alex Turner was also getting ready. He stood on the bridge of a ship that officially did not exist. The UES Retribution was the biggest warship humans had ever built, but no alien had ever seen it. Special metal covered the hull that made it invisible to all alien sensors. The ship looked like empty space to anyone trying to find it. "Captain, all systems are ready," said Lieutenant Chris Parker from his station. "Weapons are charged, engines are hot, and the crew is ready for action." Alex looked out the front window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Koroth Empire was planning to attack human colonies. They thought it would be easy. They thought humans would run or surrender. They were about to learn how wrong they were. "How long did we work on this beauty?" Alex asked his weapons officer, Commander Nina Davis. 7 years, sir," Nina answered. "Every piece of technology on this ship came from studying alien equipment that we bought, borrowed, or stole. Then our scientists made it better." Alex smiled. The aliens sold humans their old technology, thinking humans were too stupid to understand it. They never imagined that human scientists would take apart everything they bought and figure out how to make it work better. Dr. Ben Rodriguez and his team had spent decades learning alien secrets and finding ways to improve them. On the colony, world of New Terra, things looked normal from space. Farmers worked in their fields, miners dug in the mountains, and families lived quiet lives in small towns. But Commander Kate Phillips knew the truth. She walked through what looked like a farming village, but every farmer she passed was actually a trained soldier. "Morning, Kate," called out Sam Wilson as he loaded bags of grain onto a truck. To anyone watching, Sam looked like a simple farm worker. But Kate knew he was one of Earth's best Special Forces soldiers. The grain bags he was loading contained weapons and ammunition. "Morning, Sam," Kate replied. "Everything ready for the harvest?" "All ready," Sam said with a smile. "When the time comes, we'll be ready to show our visitors what we can really do." Kate walked to the town center, where Maya Johnson was teaching children in a small school. Maya looked like a gentle teacher, but she was actually one of Earth's top intelligence agents. She had spent years learning everything about alien military tactics and weaknesses. "The children are learning fast," Maya said when Kate came to the classroom door. "Soon they'll know everything they need to know," Kate nodded. The children were young soldiers learning to fight using alien weapons that had been secretly shipped to the colony. Every human world had schools like this, hidden training centers that looked like normal buildings. Back on Earth, Dr. Ben Rodriguez was in his laboratory, making final checks on the technology that would surprise the galaxy. Ben was the man who figured out how to make human technology better than alien technology. While the aliens became lazy and stopped improving their weapons and ships, Ben and his team never stopped working. "The phase shift armor is working perfectly," Ben told his assistant as they watched a test. A piece of metal became completely invisible, then solid again. "The aliens have sensors that can find anything in space, but they can't find something that isn't really there." Ben walked to another table where new weapons were being tested. These guns could fire faster and hit harder than any alien weapon. The secret was mixing human ideas with alien technology. Aliens built weapons one way and never changed. Humans took alien ideas and made them better. "Dr. Rodriguez," called one of his scientists. "The new engines are ready. They're twice as fast as anything the Koroth have." Ben smiled. The aliens thought humans were slow learners. They thought human technology was simple and weak. They never paid attention when humans bought broken alien equipment and took it home to study. They never noticed when human scientists asked innocent questions about how alien technology worked. For 50 years, humans had been learning and preparing Dot in the communication center. Messages were flying between Earth and every human colony. The network looked like normal civilian communications to alien watchers, but it was actually a military command system that could coordinate thousands of ships and millions of soldiers. "All colonies report ready," said the communications officer. "Every human world is prepared for what comes next." Admiral Cole looked at the reports coming in. New Terra was ready. New Shanghai was ready. New Detroit was ready. All the human colonies that looked weak and helpless were actually fortified military bases with hidden weapons and trained soldiers. "What about our friends in the alien governments?" she asked Colonel Martinez. "Agent Wilson and Agent Johnson have people in place throughout the Korath, Zelani, and Vorthic systems," Martinez replied. "We know where their ships are, how many, weapons they have, and what their battle plans look like. They know nothing about us." This was the part that made Lisa most proud. While the aliens thought they were spying on humans, humans had been spying on them much more successfully. Human agents worked in alien military bases, alien government buildings, and alien research centers. They looked like normal workers, but they were gathering information and waiting for orders. "The Korath War fleet is moving toward New Terra," reported a tracking officer. "Estimated arrival in 6 hours." "Perfect," Lisa said. "Let them come. When they arrive, they'll get a lesson in what humans can really do." She turned to the main communication screen. "All units, this is Admiral Cole. The time has come to show the galaxy who we really are. 50 years of hiding is over. 50 years of being underestimated ends today. Show them what humans are made of." Around the galaxy, human colonies began to change. Peaceful farms revealed hidden missile launchers. Quiet mining operations unveiled powerful shield generators. Simple trade ships activated weapon systems that had been carefully hidden for decades. The Galactic Council thought they knew everything about humans. They thought humans were weak, simple, and harmless. In a few hours, they would learn that. Humans were the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and they had been planning this moment for a very long time. The trap was set. Now it was time to spring it. Jake Morrison sat in his chair and looked around the huge meeting room. The place was called Nexus Prime, and it was where all the alien races came to talk. The room was so big that it could hold thousands of beings from different worlds. Strange lights hung from the ceiling, and the air smelled like metal and something sweet that Jake could not name. Around him sat creatures that still amazed him even after 5 years as Earth's ambassador. The Korath looked like giant bugs with hard shells and sharp claws. Their red eyes never seemed to blink, and they made clicking sounds when they talked. The Zelani were tall and thin with blue skin that glowed softly. They moved like they were floating instead of walking. The Vorthic were the oldest race in the galaxy. They had gray skin with deep lines and eyes that seemed to know everything. Jake wore his best suit and tried to look calm. Inside, his heart was beating fast. Today's meeting was going to be important, and he knew it would not go well for Earth. The meeting started when a deep voice filled the room. "The Galactic Council will now begin," said the computer that ran the station. All the talking stopped, and hundreds of alien faces turned toward the center of the room. Gregtor, the war leader of the Korath Empire, stood up first. He was bigger than the other Korath, with scars on his shell that showed he had fought many battles. When he spoke, his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "The Korath Empire has something important to say," Gregtor announced. "We have been watching the human colonies in the outer systems. These worlds have good soil and valuable metals, but the humans are not using them well. They are weak and cannot protect what they have. Jake felt his hands tighten into fists, but he kept his face calm. He had been expecting this, but it still made him angry. Gregtor continued, "The Korath Empire will take control of these worlds. We will make them useful. The humans can find other places to live." The room filled with noise as different aliens began talking to each other. Some seemed excited, others looked bored. None of them seemed to care that Gregtor was talking about. Taking human homes. Jake stood up slowly. "I request permission to speak," he said in a loud, clear voice. Morgan, the oldest Vorthic elder, looked down at Jake with tired eyes. "The human may speak," he said, sounding like he was doing Jake a big favor. "The colonies that Gregtor mentioned are home to millions of humans," Jake said. "These people have lived there for 30 years. They have built cities and farms. They have families. You cannot just take their homes." Gregtor made a sound that might have been laughing. "Humans are weak. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are simple. If you cannot defend your worlds, you do not deserve to keep them." Zexhai, the Zelani representative, stood up next. Her blue skin got brighter as she talked. "The Korath speak truth. Humans have been part of our galaxy for 50 years, but you have learned nothing. Your technology is still basic. Your military is a joke. Perhaps it is time for stronger races to guide you." More aliens began to agree. Jake heard words like primitive and helpless coming from all around the room. The Threnody, who looked like walking trees, said humans were inefficient. The Gorvani, with their metal bodies, said humans were obsolete. Jake's face stayed calm, but inside he was getting more angry with each insult. These aliens thought they knew everything about humans. They thought humans were weak and stupid. They had no idea how wrong they were. "The human colonies are under the protection of Earth," Jake said firmly. "We will not give them up." This time, the laughter was loud and came from all over the room. Gregtor's clicking laugh was the loudest. "Protection? What protection can Earth give? Your biggest ship is smaller than our scout vessels. Your weapons cannot even scratch our armor. What will you do, human? Throw rocks at us?" Even Mordun, who usually stayed quiet, spoke up. "Young human, you speak of things you do not understand. Your race is still learning to walk among the stars. Do not make threats you cannot keep." Jake looked around the room at all the alien faces. Some looked amused, others looked annoyed that he was wasting their time. None of them took him seriously. None of them thought humans could fight back. "I am not making threats," Jake said quietly. "I am stating facts. Earth will protect its colonies." Zexhai's glow got even brighter. "With what army? Your entire fleet could not defeat one Korath battle group. Face reality, human. Your people are weak." Jake reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It looked like a simple communicator, the kind humans used for everyday talk. The aliens did not pay attention to it. "You are right about one thing," Jake said as he pressed a button on the device. "Today, reality will be faced." The message he sent was very short, just 3 words. "Show them everything." The signal traveled faster than light through hidden networks that the aliens did not know existed. It reached Earth in seconds, then spread to every human colony and ship in the galaxy. In a deep bunker under the Rocky Mountains on Earth. Admiral Lisa Cole smiled when she got the message. She had been waiting for this day for many years. "General Brooks," she said to the man standing next to her, "it is time." General Ryan Brooks nodded and turned to the communications officer. "Send the order. Initiate Protocol Omega. Let them see what humans really are." Back in the council chamber, Jake sat down and waited. The aliens were still talking and laughing about human weakness. They had no idea that everything was about to change. In a few hours, the galaxy would learn that humans were not the weak, simple people they pretended to be. In a few hours, the Galactic Council would discover that they had made a very big mistake. Jake. Morrison smiled for the first time that day. The show was about to begin.